Sorry.
It was.
Oh, it's on there. Oh, sorry.
It was blocking your face.
Oh,
I don't mind that.
Do you want me to take your plate or are you still eating?
so, I did end up printing a
Thank
few.
you.
I didn't mean to print it on big paper, but that's just why.
Very nice.
There's people that can't see.
Very big.
Those aren't.
Need 'em.
No, no.
Oh,
I'm
Slowly.
no, I'm thinking of
I'm switching with you,
trying to
that
be
doesn't have everything.
thoughtful.
It's funny.
I
No,
know.
I know, I'm done. I don't know if David's done. but Have some more.
I'm not saying that I'm done, but I always like to have my plate handy.
Oh,
Just in
case.
case.
Yeah,
okay, well, there's
the
plenty here.
emergency.
We really
pizza.
appreciate it, Tim. That was so nice of you.
Yes, thank you.
You know,
It's
that's why
delicious.
I do.
And I needed a little pick me up.
Like
Thank
that
you.
with cookies too.
I wonder what else you got in your pockets.
I know, I got.
No cookies?
All right.
I wish.
It is 6 and I believe Ally may try to join us later. I did not hear back from Nandu.
Okay,
I'll turn it over to
Well,
Tim.
before I should have done this before, but as I was thinking today, since I'm the, well, till Ally joins us, maybe Donna, would you want to run the meeting? Or I can do it this way.
Surprises me with it.
Oh dear.
You're supposed to prep me with this and not surprise me. Yes, it's fine.
I'm not, I apologize that, but it
Giving you a
just
hard time.
occurred to me a half hour ago that it might be wise.
Okay.
Did it, would it help if I sent you the link to the agenda in the chat?
I have the agenda here,
Oh, you do? Okay.
so yeah, it would just be for taking,
You're cutting out on and off.
Yeah, your
It's
internet's
easier
not stellar.
with most people there, she can see who raises their hands and stuff.
Yep. Good. All right,
Yeah.
so
Okay,
am I ready to call to order? And we need to say pledge of allegiance, pledge of allegiance.
We have our little flag.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let it stand in front of the camera.
He's the belly of the camera, okay. Roll call, Donna's here.
Donna, yep, I'll, does it help if I like?
It's
call
going
the
on there
names?
too. No, we can just go around. Okay.
Larry.
Bridget,
Tim is on Zoom.
yeah,
did we get David?
We haven't voted him in yet, but he's here as.
I guess
A guest,
Okay.
yes,
at this
Okay.
point.
and Robin, the library director, is here.
Okay, so that's our roll call.
And then absent is Allison Pollock and Nandu. Ally's excused for a school meeting. Nandu, we haven't been able to get a hold of, so she might still be traveling.
Okay, we good? The next thing is the consent agenda. Did everybody read the agenda and last month's minutes? And can I have
I moved that
Thank
we
you.
approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. And all in favor?
I,
Aye. Okay,
I-
and Larry, okay. Okay, should I say it? Bridget and Larry, Bridget moved, Larry seconded, everybody.
That's great.
approved.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I
That's
know.
helpful, because when I use the recording to edit the minutes, and
Okay.
so that's helpful. Thank
Okay.
you.
And next is public comment, but we don't have anybody. Well, David's here from the public, but are you going to comment?
No,
Okay, thank you. And you won't be public pretty soon. Okay. We don't. Okay. Library board application. Hey, very soon.
yeah.
Okay. So David is, we looked at we talked to him last month and we looked at what we
his
saw of his
application.
application last month.
Yeah, I've attached David's application to your packet,
Mhm.
and he is here for an interview.
Okay.
I'd be nervous if I.
I don't think so.
He
Okay.
knows I'm kidding.
Yeah. Where were you on the night of the 26th?
Hey.
Yeah.
We know, well, we'll do it again, just officially what his library or what his interest or background is, or whatever.
Do you want me to give a little spiel or something?
Yes, I know you did it last month, but should we put it again since this is the official vote? Give us a little.
Yeah, I think last time I was just real informal.
Okay.
I've been on this board for two, sessions. Are they?
Terms.
Terms, thank you, they're 3 years, right? So
Therefore,
before, okay, 8 years, wow.
I think you started in progress of someone else, like a vacant term,
Yeah, I think so.
and then you
yeah.
were,
I
yeah.
filled in. I'm on the board of the Friends of the Library. I keep running into Larry
Yeah,
one way or another. We're both on the budget committee also, so,
the same walking path.
yeah. For me, I think in my heart, speaking from my heart, is service to the community is my most important thing. And being involved in the library is a good and important place for me to be in service to the library. And that kind of says it all. And I'm really happy, and she talked me into it. And,
There we go. There we go.
actually, I don't think she needed to twist my heart too.
Remember that, but okay.
And she kept reminding me.
And inviting you over and
And,
over, right?
yeah. And so eventually I said, yeah, and which is interesting. I told my wife, yeah, I'm gonna quit doing everything. Well, now I'm, creeping back. Yeah. Can't help it. So any questions?
Can I make a comment? I am just happy that you're coming on board as we approach this levy cycle. I think your experience is gonna be super valuable, and it's gonna be all hands on deck, and I'm pretty sure,
Okay.
for all of us. So-
Interesting. Okay,
So thank you.
yeah, pleasure.
Tim, any questions?
Yeah. No, I just want to thank David for, I agree with Larry said, he should be very, very valuable from his experience to help us for coming back.
Thank you.
So is it time to call for a vote?
You need call for a motion and.
So typically, we excuse the applicant briefly for
So don't.
be
You
careful
gotta
about
take
here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just be careful going this way, cause I have a chair here because of the wires, but, I mean. Okay,
We'll call you right
Doesn't
back.
even know where the bathroom is.
So do we have to have discussion now?
We can have further
so
discussion. if you want.
what you could do is, you could. Entertain a motion and then you could have discussion as a part of that process.
Okay, I make a
Uh,
motion that we elect David Hatcher.
A second.
Okay,
And then you could say any discussion at this
Okay.
point.
any discussion at this point? Thank you. Richard.
I think he would be a good asset.
What was the motion?
Uh,
What was the motion?
To elect David to the board.
yeah,
Is that the-
Yeah, remember, we're just
That's-
recommending. We're just recommending,
that's
To be approved by
Oh,
the
okay.
city council.
He's
We'll
a-
make, we'll remind
he'd be
you.
appointed by the council.
So the motion
So-
is to bring it forward to the council.
Yes,
That would
to
be-
To recommend.
recommend,
To recommend.
so the motion
Good
would be
point.
to
wanna change
recommend
the
David
motion?
Hatcher's
They
So-
just did.
Okay.
Withdraw we'll withdraw them, so withdraw your motion.
I'm withdrawing the motion. I'm creating a new motion saying, I think a motion to recommend David Hatcher to be part of the library board.
And I second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Thank you, Tim.
now,
Tim.
any discussion before we all vote on it? Any,
I think it's good.
no, okay,
Tim,
all
Tim
in
is
favor?
frozen.
Tim is frozen, but hopefully he hears us. All in favor of recommending to the city council that David be added to the board? Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All in favor. Okay.
Okay,
I know, I struggle through this. That's okay. Okay, so David can come back and we'll explain to him that he's going to move forward in the
been-
process.
he's been recommended.
He's been recommended.
David, you may return.
And so he can't really participate until the city council
Correct,
appoints him. Okay.
yes. Yeah. So we've moved to recommend you to city council, but you are not on our board officially until the city council approves you. So you will appoint you, okay?
Okay,
And
thank you.
You and Robin will be at a meeting at city council soon, I'm
Oh,
sure.
you do when that is?
I don't, it would likely be the next council meeting,
Is that
If
next
you-
month?
let
on the third.
Let me know so I can show up and
Sure.
share, yeah.
Okay.
I will, now my next duty is to convey this information to our city recorder. To put on the next council agenda. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. So.
And thank you, Tim, again for the pizza.
Yeah,
thank
good
you.
pizza. Only reason he showed up.
He's still.
Okay, item number 8, so we're to the discussion portion, the Q and A of the presentation by Lisa to the Board of Commissioners.
Yeah, so we didn't quite finish the presentation to the Board of Commissioners, but you did hear the main points, and so I want to allow, Tim thought it was a good idea to have some time to watch it before, so it's fresh in your mind, and then put some time on the agenda where you could ask me your questions, and I thought your question was one, Bridget, that everyone would want to hear, so now that Tim's here, you could ask it again, but I'll do my best to answer any questions you have about.
Actually, I have two now, but
Oh,
I'll
sure.
go with the first
Sure,
one.
our
Oh.
presiding officer maybe can call on
Okay.
people and I can do
Bridget,
my
you
best.
have a
to answer.
question?
I do. So they're looking at combining everybody all the ordering into one central location. So
Yes.
the local libraries wouldn't be doing the ordering like they are now. Does that mean, will they still have input? And will the local libraries be able to order things that aren't necessarily blessed or approved by the,
Mhm.
do they have to go through a system?
I can answer the first question and then yes, there'll still be input because there's still gonna be a way that that library users can request items.
Mhm.
They'll definitely, I'm confident that there will be a way for us to say, hey, North Plains Library needs more books on
This is-
crochet or whatever, and that they'll respond to that. As far as specific titles, I don't know. I don't know what that'll look like yet, like how, if we would order it ourselves or just like put in a request. But I feel that there will be some mechanism for us to ask for something to be added, that they weren't already gonna.
So along with that, I mean, I don't know, I thought that like in this library, you guys did all the ordering
We do.
for the materials. So in the future, they'll order a bunch of books and this library will get some and this one.
You won't have any say in what you'll get a bunch of stuff without having any say, or
That's kind of confusing.
Correct. There will be centralized selecting, and they'll use data and so forth to Um. And, staff to make-
Determine where,
determine. I would say, and I don't know how, I can't run a report to find out exactly, but all of our library locations do have a lot of the same titles. I'm gonna guess it's around 80%-ish
oh, okay,
or more. So there's not a whole lot of single copy unique items out there, especially with new ordering. So that part is already, those popular items are gonna be ordered either way. The things that make each location unique, I don't know exactly how they're gonna address that yet. That's gonna be part of the project to figure that out,
That's,
but it is very
Big.
important.
that's a
Yeah.
big part of the project because Hillsborough could order 20 and we ordered 2, one a shelf copy of bestseller and one not, but then I picture it's gonna be for them to do the bestsellers and the hot topics, but I don't picture that things like children's books and lesser popular nonfiction and things like that. I see a lot of that going not necessarily by the wayside, but I'd be really concerned that the purchasing's all going to be done of hot new stuff or new stuff and then if you.
That wouldn't fit our the collection development policy to only do it that way. So I think that, it'll be more. I mean, they are gonna hire staff, librarian staff to,
But it sounds like not
To
very
do it.
good. They said
Specifically,
they
that's all they're
do.
doing.
yes.
And whereas they're talking about 35 people between all the libraries and a few to buy the books for everybody.
Yeah,
That's concerning.
they're basing that on what other centralized systems do, I think, and so there's a lot of questions about the how of this that nobody knows the answer to yet, because it's, the project hasn't even been scoped yet. And they're gonna bring someone on board to guide everyone through the process. The nice thing is there's a lot of examples out there because most larger systems do it this way. So we've got a lot of, we have a lot of examples that we can, like Fort Vancouver is a close by one. We have a newer library director who went through this exact process at a library where she worked. And, talked to us about it.
So 30, the number of FTEs, I
Mhm.
mean, do we have a full-time person that's just doing circulation?
No.
So
But does it
they-
add up to how much of a full-time person? Is Eric and Brianna? Or is it just-
So, for our impacts at our library, it is a lot of Eric's work,
Mhm.
the library assistant too, and it is a piece of Brianna's work. It's one of her professional librarian duties. And, I let them know this information ahead of time. And one of our part-time staff who does the processing of the books,
Mhm.
Christina, those are the most impacted staff at North Plains. But we're in a situation where all signs point to, the county is saying they will fund this base level of service. All signs point to our allocation from the county doubling or tripling. Because they don't fund a base level of service for us right now.
Right, so that we're a little
So
more
we-
unique.
So we won't be losing any staff. We will be changing people's workflow.
Oh, okay,
loads.
okay.
And I am concerned for our library, but this, okay, you can definitely move those 3 and not have to lose staff.
Absolutely
But
not.
that's not how it's gonna go
No, we
countywide.
are
and
very
so-
sensitive to the fact
And
that
that's an issue.
a lot of our larger libraries will be over 2 years' time.
Having to do something about it.
Losing positions. Or however they choose to approach it, but that is their allocation is going to be reduced.
Right. And they can deal with it however they want to. If they want to keep the people, they have to pay for it with city staff.
Right.
Okay, I'll let you do your second question, because I could go on this one in
Yeah.
every which direction, and I don't want
Yeah.
to take up too much of the 20 minutes.
The other question was, they carried on about the PERS increasing, which
Yes,
is
it is.
reasonable, but they didn't mention salary increases. I certainly hope that all the library staff throughout this county gets an increase somewhere in the next 5-10 years. That they're based, that wherever
Right.
they're getting, that they at least
I
are getting
think they
a cost
build
of
in a
living.
7% cost increase for across the board for staff.
Oh,
I
okay.
think the 7% is what they use. Because that's what it's been lately with cost of
Okay.
living and cost of benefits and so forth.
Why is PERS increasing?
There's a new statute that basically, it used to be there's 3% that the employee paid and 3% the employer paid. Here at North Plains, they pay both, which is great. But now that one of those 3%, part of it has to go to like the central, like the central PERS account. And
Something changed in the.
Some-
It doesn't come back.
well, that's how it, and then now I think they're increasing it to make it whole again or something. I can't remember exactly. I just read it last week and I
That's
can't
okay.
remember. But I read it and I was like, oh, that's why we have to use it's 24% on top of people's wages. That's how much PERS
People-
costs.
Was that PERS or is that also the benefits, all the benefits?
No, it's
included?
just PERS.
Like, people haven't complained about, I'm sorry, PERS forever, and now they get more.
Oh, they have.
Oh, okay.
I'm a PERS retiree.
Yeah.
But I mean, now we're going to fund them more, and where people have been saying, PERS people get too much. Anyway, I can't do this in the meeting.
We paid more than 3% when I was working.
Yeah.
We paid 6% of our.
Okay, I
salary.
shouldn't go off on PERS. Okay, I'll stop it. Please ignore that.
Depends on where you.
Strike it from the record.
Strike it from the record, please.
So, I have a timeline here for the centralization project that I wanted to share. I'm only gonna share this much because I feel like the rest is too nebulous to even share, but they had to sort of map it out. But I am gonna share with you the timeline up to the levy election, because then that is really a turning point. I mean, I can go over all of it, but basically, they've indicated some points along the way where all staff are gonna be involved in the process. So, research and visits, kind of get to know all the collections at the different libraries. They're gonna collect baseline data on we have a data analyst who has a doctorate, who was at Hillsborough, Dr. Jessica Gagnon, and she's now the data analyst for WCCLS, and so she's gonna help collect baseline data before this goes into place so we can evaluate it. That's very important. They're gonna initiate the project at the beginning of next fiscal year. And they're gonna start working on an RFP for a consultant, and that also includes staff input. That has the little symbol. And they're gonna create a project plan. And then the planning phase kicks off. So this is also in the first year of the new levy cycle. Make a budget, a central staffing plan, a facilities plan, and the operational plan includes all staff of how the selection process and the other cataloging and so forth are gonna work. We have a smaller timeline below, and that is ILL. ILL is gonna be centralized. Everyone agrees that that's a wise choice. It's should have been done a long time ago. That's gonna kind of run parallel but be a lot quicker.
What's ILO?
Interlibrary loan. It's where you get an item from another library system,
Right,
not just another library in our county, outside of the county. Then after the levy is when the execution of the project starts. And so I'll just say that, you know, they'll hire people, install the storage they need, develop their policies and processes. Contract with the suppliers, et cetera. Migration is kind of over the end of that fiscal year 26-27. And then phase 3 is in that fiscal year 27-28 of when they so if they're gonna migrate like a beta group, test group, and then they're gonna migrate people in phases into the and then everyone will be involved, you know, in those. They'll be refining the process and evaluating it and improving it. I'm gonna say again, up to the operational plan part is where you know, it'll probably go about like the timeline, but then after that, I'd say it may have already changed, you know. And one of the things that we'll have access to due to this is we will have access to more materials in other languages than English. We don't have any adult materials in non-English, and we will have access to those to serve our community. We'll have access to some more expensive items that maybe we don't purchase now, and so forth. It's very difficult for Brianna, who really enjoys selecting for this community. And we will really advocate for ways to make sure that we can have a collection that reflects our community and our community's needs. I am confident there'll be a way to do that. And I really I need more information, but we're a very capable group, like all of us. We work together on it. I think it can have some benefits to everybody with access wise. Some less waiting periods, some having the same people doing the digital library collection that are doing the physical and using data to kind of see where it makes sense to add the copies and things.
So that's never been done before. The
No.
digital's just all been done over here and, well,
The digital's already done centrally by WCC.
right, but they
that's
don't
what I
look at
thought.
what all the other libraries
Oh,
have been
well,
doing. Of course they have.
sure.
So that's not really gonna change. It's gonna be more all there in WCCLS instead of them having to look at the bigger picture, but it's still always been a decision. I mean, it's still always been done together.
Oh, are you, I
Talking
didn't
about
think
digital.
like Brianna and Eric, they don't do the digital part.
No,
do they?
that's all done by the county, right?
Right now, the people who select the digital items don't have any control over the physical items.
Right,
And
and
what's
vice
being
versa.
bought.
Yeah,
They can now kind of, you know, leverage the different formats maybe differently. I'm not saying I don't wish we could stay how we are. It was apparent from going through the process that without finding some efficiencies, people were gonna lose access to hours and open hours and materials. Just simply because of the way our tax structure is in Oregon, unless you can find different ways to do things, you can't keep doing things the same way with the cap on the taxes and the cap on how much they can go up every year. You really do have to continually kind of reinvent how you do things. Because you're going to be in a deficit. It's built into the system. The way it is, you can only, you know. Until measures 5 and 50, until there's tax reform of some sort, we're gonna have to continuously kind of create more efficient processes, and this is something that's duplicated at all the libraries and for I'm gonna say around 80% of the items. So it did stick out as a opportunity to save.
I just make one comment. Their whole
I
savings is based
think
on,
Commissioner,
Hmm?
I think Commissioner Wiley said something without the $4 million with this, that this would, they're projected to save with this, it would put a lot of stress on the library, because a lot of stress financially, as well as the state is too, so that was like, I think Robin's telling us necessary to change. One thing I was wondering, a lot of the funds that we received from friends, we use that for our collection in the past. That's my assumption. I don't know. Is that true?
That's true.
It is.
Is
We
that-
talked
that's-
about
that's-
that at the Friends meeting on last
The Friends-
Monday.
Yeah, the Friends is doing well, so we will have to be well connected to them more so in the future to make sure that the way they want their money spent is what we need now. Rather, we come to agreement on how to spend their money, on how they want to, and what helps our needs. We will expand our collection with your money. Is that am I close on that, Robin, or is that?
Yep, we talked about that the Monday evening meeting and where's our ex officio? I just
We don't
realized.
have one.
Oh,
Sorry, I just want to make sure.
so you're not missing somebody up there.
Okay. Oh, shoot. I just realized our ex officio is missing, sorry. So the Friends are, not. They're willing to, support the library in other ways. There may be opportunities to still, provide funding for, items people can check out that are maybe items that wouldn't be included in the essential services. We just don't know for sure yet, but things like library, if things aren't gonna be included. So say we still wanna offer some kits and so forth to check out, that could be, but there's a lot of ways the Friends can support the library, and withdrawn books will still be available to the Friends if they would like them, according to Lisa, that shouldn't be a problem.
So events and that kind of stuff, that will still be the same coming out of,
We, so the base service does include some programming funding, so it includes like all our early literacy expenses and so forth, but special events and things would be all on our, that would be a great.
a local thing.
Yeah, the Friends also have a scholarship for staff for professional development. That's really wonderful. There's always like building needs. The self-check is something the Friends paid for, the accessibility button from before. So there's always, we may need new carpet soon. I mean, it's getting a little worn. So things like that in the library. And so, yeah, we did, thank you, Tim. That was something that people thought about and we discussed a bit at the meeting. I know not everyone's had a chance to ask questions
your
yet.
questions.
No, my only question was, I'm gonna put this letter that, I talked about some of the points in the letter about equity and the no pass levy, that, all those kinds of things. And put that in the letter, but I'd like to make sure I'm not speaking for the library board when I send this. I'm sending it,
Yeah.
but I'd still like to, run it by you to see if I'm, crafting it correctly or not, so. That's why.
My question is the Pierce thing came up because I know, we pay staff fee, the city does. What's the makeup, the staff makeup, of the whole organization of people that, they have to, that aren't related to cities? I don't know if my question makes sense.
Like the nonprofit libraries, like Cedar Mill and stuff?
Yeah, well, like the people that were up here that we watch, are they all, part of some city or?
That's a county commission.
That was the County Board of Commissioners,
Okay, but there's other,
oh, that were presenting?
yeah,
So the county administrator was presenting, she was a little bit off camera, but she was speaking when we had to pause, Tanya Angie. The person who did most of the presenting is Lisa Tattersall, the manager of WCCLS, the county department of WCCLS, she's the manager. She reports to an assistant county administrator who reports to the county administrator. So you had her boss, her current boss, it's changed like 10 times in the last 2 years. Marnie next to her, assistant county administrator, you could see both their faces. You could see someone's head to the side, that was Tanya Angie, the actual county administrator. She's like the city manager of the county, was there.
so PERS isn't gonna be that big of a factor then overall.
Her,
First,
oh,
that would be just
the
for the
person who
labor.
asked about hers was Catherine Harrington. They just wanted to make sure that the escalation of expenses were in that model, and it is.
Catherine and I have crossed paths, land use.
Okay, okay. So, did anyone else have? I just want to make sure everyone had a chance to ask a question. We could go back around. How are we doing on time?
Look at the time we started our,
6:36.
Probably take a couple more minutes. This is important. But again, I don't have answers to the how yet, but we'll be sure to give a lot of input. And will be happy to take your input when we get to that point where we're doing the request for proposals for someone to guide us through this process. The things that are most important to you as far as the collection goes, I want to make sure that I'm able to pass that along.
yes, Tim, sir, can I? Tim had his hand raised. Is that okay? Sorry.
You to have this on the agenda too, every board meeting to maybe
Good point.
We do, I mean, it's the WCCS spending and
keep
governance.
you
project.
informed.
Yes, we'll keep it on the agenda.
I have one last question. Besides this thing with the centralized purchasing, do you, between now and when the levy is, that June 3rd date, do you foresee any other efficiencies that they're gonna come up with that we need to kind of be aware of or talk about?
We asked about a few things, like especially I asked about IT technology, because I see a lot of positives in doing more centralizing of that, but they said that they had to choose something that would have enough of a financial impact to the kind of what they wanted to avoid were those kinds of things that you do when you're face to face with your community. They didn't want to centralize like story time, for example, where they send one person to do story time at all the libraries, right? Because that's a relationship building thing that we do face to face with our community members. So they wanted to choose something that's more behind the scenes work, which a lot of this is the selecting is based on interacting with the community, though. The other things are done back of the house, but we will need to figure out a way to get that, that piece of selecting that we get from interacting with our community members, we need to make sure there's a way to, communicate that. I think that's a top concern for people, that we don't just have like a cookie cutter collection at all the libraries, that we're able to And there's a lot you can do with data, seeing what people are reading in North Plains, you know, and using. But that's only past, that doesn't help you see that, that's when we really, the staff here are really gonna be key to be able to communicate some of those things with the. It's not gonna be by committee, but I'm sure there'll be ways to do that.
Right, thanks.
I'll. I won't leave them alone if they don't listen, you know what I mean, but I'd love to know your. Yes,
So it just seems to me, it's just a comment kind of, that they're building their whole thing on one thing.
well, it's the levy,
No, they're
increasing
building
the levy,
the cutting
the
based on what
centralizing,
that, and not anything.
interlibrary loan
else.
and,
They're kind
and
of
the,
same thing,
all the materials,
right?
functions. Selecting acquisitions, cataloging, they're hoping to get a bigger discount, et cetera. From doing it all together.
Okay, but it's, they don't have, I guess they don't want to have a bunch of little things. They
Right.
want to show you something that's really
A bigger
big and
bang.
significant, and yes, and then, but there's no, you're going to go forward without, I know that you can go to other libraries and find out how they've done it, but you really, till you do it, you don't know what they have in mind for how things are gonna be equitable, or how things, so for example,
Like how many copies of something we would
things like
have on the
that,
shelf.
and, right, and we know we only have so much room, first of all, but,
Yes.
which, you know, I don't see North Plains as being hurt by this, because the thing you're not talking about too much is the equity portion in reallocating the funds.
Right,
They're not talking about that, and that is what's important to us.
right, that
And-
hasn't
and
happened
that-
yet,
No,
Yeah.
and that's more important to me than
yep,
the other, because it makes more effect here.
that presentation will be in June.
Okay,
We have work sessions now scheduled for Bill and I to go and talk about the service area boundary line and the funding allocation formula. Those are gonna be very critical pieces for us.
definitely.
Since we added Quality Ridge Elementary School,
Mhm.
we're serving families who live below 26 now outside of the 97133 zip code.
Mhm.
Our service area now is only that zip code.
Oh,
So we're visiting the classrooms twice a year. Those families are coming to our library and they're in the Hillsborough service area. So that will be something we talk about in like these work sessions, for example, of you know, where should that service area boundary be? And then allocation wise, they're committing to paying for this base level of service. Well, from what information they've gathered from us, that's at least $500,000 a year, and we're getting less than 200,000 a year from them now.
mhm.
So if they're able to follow through on that, that will, we will be funded. The equity pieces, everyone is funded at that level. Some will go down, some will go up. We don't wanna like rub it in anyone's face, but we're the of the smallest libraries like us and banks and so forth will be,
But the big libraries are gonna put up the biggest fight.
and they have a lot of leverage.
They do, and that's how it's been in the past. That they've always had the leverage, and they always say, but they're bigger, so they get more. But you just don't say, we have a big library, so you have to give us more. It's
A number of.
gotta be
percent,
it's
yeah.
gotta be per capita, it's gotta be something that's
Yeah.
fair. And it hasn't been because the big libraries went out, so I hope that works, and I think that's more important to us
Yeah,
than the allocating the work
well,
to
it's
the county.
the people who live in North Plains pay the same amount of
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
taxes.
Right.
So really deserve the same level
Yeah.
of funding,
Mhm.
right, in our community.
Mhm.
No, taxation, representation, et cetera, needs to happen. So I'd say that Bill and I will definitely speak up very strongly about that. But all that data is out in the public now. It's like no one can deny it. that it's a little imbalanced. Okay, I think we are probably about out of time for the topic, but we will have it on the agenda every month. You can always email me and ask me questions too, in between meetings. I'm happy to answer best I can and try to let you know of any key developments like with the presentation.
Okay. Any more before we move on? Everybody's good to move on? Okay. We're on reports, so Robin, reports. Oh, sorry. I don't know.
Thank everybody for taking time to watch it and have a great discussion, so. That's all.
Direct report.
So, I put those agenda items first. I kind of changed the order. I kind of like that because now I kind of know how long I can spend the rest of my report. What was this? We did have an update coming out from Larry too, so I'll be quick, but I went to the Capitol for Library Legislative Day and it was really, really cool. They do it only about every other year and I went to the last one, which was 2 years ago. So we meet in the state library and we, there's a lobbyist who, and all a lobbyist does is just help you state your facts in a way that the legislators will understand and care about, you know, because and that's helpful. But it's an opportunity for people who do the work and interact with the constituents to go tell the legislators about what impacts the various library legislation has on the community. So it's just giving them information. It's all true stuff. So I told them about how we use ready to read funds here in North Plains. And I told them how we use state library resources. These are the things that they'll be voting on. They'll be voting to pass the state library budget, which includes those things for us. We also were telling them about the data behind a robust school library and how much that supports students and helps students read and so forth. So I did meet with Senator Weber and Representative Edwards, our senator and representative for this area, and talked to them about those things. And I thought that was, hopefully I gave them some things to think about. I did recommend that, because there's controversy over content, to kind of let the parents worry about the content and just kind of focus on what libraries are there to do, which is get information for their kids and like teach them to critical thinking and information literacy skills, etc. Don't worry about that. Don't let it muddy the water, like don't let it fog your judge, you know, whatever. I tried to but I thought both were very positive. I also went with some others to visit with my home library, Cedar Mills. I went to visit some legislators, the Cedar Mill area with Liz Paulus, this is one of the Cedar Mill librarians, and that was great. And so I felt like it made a difference. We also brought a little cart of books around. We basically had books that the legislators could choose a book to donate to their favorite library. And so we kind of facilitated that process. You could put a little nameplate in it, and that was fun. They want me to be on the legislative committee. I don't know.
Enough to do.
And I just want to make sure everyone knew you can read magazines on Libby now. They're in all kinds of languages too, which is really cool, but the really popular ones, if there's any magazines you just, you know, like, but you don't get because you're cluttering up your house, now you can read them on Libby.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wait. There's no hold.
And the New York Times has expanded what we have access
Yes,
to.
they did.
It is so
Thank
cool.
you. I
Yes.
forgot to even mention that. Yes.
You can now do the
You can now do the
recipes
games.
and the games
That's
without,
huge.
yes, it's really huge.
I still pay for, I mean, I kind of want to support them, but
Okay.
but at some point, yeah.
Nope, I subscribe every 3 days.
Okay, okay.
Recipes, games, yeah, anyway, sorry for interrupting.
That's a
Okay.
great resource. I'm really glad we have it. Yeah. Oh, and then, yeah, we do have an estate planning program coming up, so please talk about it among your neighbors and so forth. We are gonna hold it in the library. We're trying to do as many programs as possible in the library space. That way we can highlight the collection and,
Who will be running that?
we have an instructor coming whose name is Cheryl Gill.
I know her name.
Well, I don't know if it's the Cheryl Gill who worked at Hillsborough Library. I think it's a different person, but that is also a name I reckon. Any questions about my report?
So you went to the city council for a library supervisor position.
Oh.
How did that go?
So, yeah, I had it on our agenda to talk about. Oh, yeah, it's a new business.
Yeah.
What happened was the city recorder put it on the city council agenda, the meeting before I had asked. But they asked if they could please keep it on there instead of March 3rd, because March 3rd was getting so packed full of stuff. And so it wasn't exactly the order that Tim and I talked about. Tim, basically what happened was the library supervisor position went to city council last night and it was approved. I meant to bring it to you all first for your recommendation to council so that I could include in my presentation that the library board was supporting
board.
this. I apologize about that timing issue. Oh,
You're locked out.
Here it is.
This was
Woo!
6 or 7.
Oh,
it's at
that's-
6.
Okay,
We didn't.
You
tell
came for the
we-
pizza, huh?
Yeah, there's pizza.
There's pizza.
Hi, Counselor Payne.
Hello, I'm sorry, I thought it started at 7 o'clock.
We did
It
change
used to.
to 6, about,
Where you were?
has it
I
been a
already did,
year?
I picked myself up from the swimming, came home, started some dinner, and came right back here,
Okay.
so.
Well,
So-
thank you and
You're welcome.
welcome. I was just giving my
Fantastic.
report, and I was mentioning that we intended to have the item from the council agenda, the supervisor on the March 3rd council meeting, because this body was going to add their support but it just the city recorder asked if it could be on last night's meeting.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of your budget and you're the manager and you get to decide how you want to do it.
Thank you.
So there's always some discussion, but that's just discussion. It's bottom line,
Yeah.
it's your. budget.
And I did run the numbers on that. I just had done it before the snow and everything, and what I said was, I double checked. I have a spreadsheet on it, but basically it's the difference in cost of the vacant position, the library assistant 2 and the library supervisor position is, yes, there's a difference, but we're gonna, for the rest of this budget cycle, we've had a vacancy for so long that
Right, you've got
It's
the-
not gonna
it's
matter.
fine. And then when we work on the next budget, we'll look at all together and,
One of my main concerns was that public funding is going lower and lower and lower. As far as the library goes, like last year there was a cut, right?
Yes.
And there's nothing really pointing to an increase. So,
I will talk to you a little about that because you missed something. So we'll put a pin in that concern because I can address it. And I will, if that's okay, just, we do have that under new
We'll still
business.
do it under new business.
I
Should we
think-
want to finish it now?
I think we should just wait till new business so I can.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yep.
But I can go to the next item and under
statistics.
reports,
Okay.
which is the statistics. We had another little dip from the same month last year, but I think when I looked into this before, it was certain people maybe are checking out fewer items, but we
You were
won't
blamed.
name, but, and then because we're such a small library, that can make an impact. It also really depends on publishing and what
Mhm.
the publishing cycle and what comes out and how much we buy and add.
when I
during a
did
given
my
month.
Libby app, for my book downloads.
Mhm.
Does that show this library? Or is it
Yes.
just Washington County?
If you're registered at this library,
Okay.
it will show, it will be our statistic.
Okay.
So look at what your registered at library
It's
is.
here.
Okay, great. Then yes, we do get credit for that.
Okay.
And you see it in the, if you look at the county-wide statistics, which should be the next. Here's another
Copy, yeah.
Okay.
It's on the
I had it last night. and I
Okay,
just-
guys. The countywide statistics, you can see they sort of break it down by, digital. Yeah, they'll show you the overdrive checkout, which is the digital,
You're down 4.9.
the renewals and the regular.
No pressure, no.
No, Larry, you do what you need to do.
Yeah.
You're not responsible for our statistics. It's okay.
Okay.
So
Oh my God, that's a lot of books.
Being a
Checks
lot
out
of-
that many.
Couple.
The library's got a lot of extra programs coming up, so that's what I drive members or checkouts.
Pardon?
You guys are doing a lot of extra things coming up as far as estate planning and taxes and whatnot.
Yes,
So that should drive people inside the doors to get some.
Yes.
books.
you're right. I was talking about how we try to do as many programs in the library as possible for that reason. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, our statistics look great to me. I mean, I see our usage and visitors, and see how much our visitors have gone up since last year. So just because maybe they're not checking out as many books. Or we've talked about trends too. If people are switching to digital, they may not check out as many at a time, like, or, like versus a stack that you might catch your eye when you're browsing in the library. Browsing is a little different online and in person. That's fine. We know we're heavily used and appreciated and.
So we're on to finance report. You ready?
Sure. I don't know if I kept one, you can just
Sure.
look at it and see if you have any questions. Oh, you look, I mean, I see, I have it posted next to my desk, so.
Yeah.
I don't, there's nothing really specific to call out in it. I mean,
Okay.
if the bottom line, any disparities are gonna just be due to grant spending. We got a $20,000 grant at the end of the last budget cycle that carried over to this budget cycle in the beginning balance because we hadn't spent it yet. So we spent it this year and we got another $20,000 grant that we're currently spending. So,
Yay.
that we just put in a line grants expenditures because we didn't anticipate that. We have this sort of expenditure line to record the spending and it looks a little out of whack, but that's just. It's just sort of bonus money that we need to show the spot for. So it's offset.
Okay, any questions on the finance report? No. Okay,
My other question was like you said, put a pin on the future budgets.
Oh, yes.
So
Well-
looking for that.
Sorry, that's not in this report, but it's county funding. There's some news on the county funding front.
Cause I'm a little bit worried because we're second from the last as far as checkouts or check-ins go.
That doesn't matter as far as the funding
Okay,
formula.
so
No.
I think it's cut from the bottom up.
We get the least already. What the county is proposing is to fund a base service level for every library in the county.
We talked about that for the last 2 years, right?
It's part of this funding and governance project. So now they've defined the base service level and how much it costs. And so it would be more than we're getting now when they put that into effect.
The higher end people take a bit of a hit and the lower people get a bit of a boost, right?
Yes, that's the way it's looking. We obviously, till the intergovernmental agreement is drafted and we still have some work sessions to go through to do that funding formula. That'll be really critical work for Bill and I, those are full day work sessions. But we'll advocate our hardest for North Plains. But that wouldn't start till the next levy cycle, which is fiscal year after next. So this upcoming fiscal year may be a little tight.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay. Ongoing business, which is Larry.
Okay.
Growth boundary relook.
Yeah.
Yeah, the relook, interesting progression of that group. Because it was at the beginning very contentious back, when they first met. And then as they worked through and kind of, listened to each other and, became more informed and looked at the options. There's like, I don't wanna say, but there are people who changed their mind a little bit. Or a lot.
Became aware of,
Yeah, and as I don't say consensus, but we're just in discussions about it. Where they said, oh, well, this option makes sense and which it increased housing and the commercial industrial portion of the original map. So it took all the stuff on the west side and focused more on the east,
They took the west part out.
except for up by the lake,
Okay.
because they want to see a park there.
Hmm,
Okay,
interesting.
and then on the east side was a mix of, housing between Sunset Ridge and what is it, by the creek, right?
Mhm.
And then some more commercial industrial along Jackson School from, kind of like, I guess you can say Sunset Ridge down to the highway.
26.
Yeah. And so work in progress. Again, they went from people really kind of
don't change a thing.
don't change to like, well, this, actually, for whatever their reason, even individual reasons are, kind of settling on, well, the majority of the group, I don't want to say it's all of them are, but the majority of the group looking in and saying, this, what they call the housing option will look best, and I think I described it, which is the east side, and then over here on the west, just around the lake, having a
Mhm.
park around there. And so the next thing is a work session that we're hoping to attend with city council.
Oh, I was just gonna have the chair acknowledge.
Oh,
or
sorry.
Acknowledge.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Is there a final report coming out? Is that gonna be presented at the joint work session with council?
I think that's a good question. I didn't see one. I did see the maps that they had put together and the map that they were gonna recommend or discuss as a main point of discussion with the city. And I think they're just looking for more input from the city, both on progress so far and on a continuation of the RAC committee forward to get more information.
Hmm.
And so I looked at it and I went, this is really, really good. It shows, people are actually thinking and participating and, working hard and really kind of looking at all the options and, being of the people that were there being more, better informed so they can be able to go to the city and say, you may not have thought of, but here's what we've been looking at. And here's, what we recommend. It's, again, our progress so far and a continuation might take us, closer to a solid recommendation. So I think we're looking to the city for that work session. That's next steps.
Well, that sounds really positive.
I thought it was great. I just thought that, some of the people that are probably gonna speak at that work session, representing the RAC
And
committee.
that is on
are
March
peop-
3rd,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, are people who may have adjusted their viewpoint.
Interesting.
nice.
Well, I
Which-
think the petition was the west, nobody wanted anything on the west. And that was kind of shoehorned at the last minute, like, "Oh, we're gonna go over here too, Mike." So this side, east side, everybody always thought about the east side.
Yeah.
So going to the west was always a contention, I think.
Yeah.
So I think the east is an easy
Why
side.
do you think that might be?
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think that that's the preference? Cause there's already houses sort of along the east and it
Right.
fills in that
Fill up-
blank
Fill
area?
up this way,
Fill in the blank
This
area
way.
between,
right?
yeah.
And have it going across.
Mhm.
So that, I think, is the mindset that people had. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, and so, again, lots of viewpoints, people, you know, at the end, we're listening to each other and, you know, kind of learning and getting an idea of what each group's vision of, you know, is of, you know, what their group wanted the city to look like. But a lot of trading back and forth about it, about you know, ideas, considerations, conveniences, hardships, you know, that kind of stuff. And I just thought, I was hopeful going in, coming out of it was like amazement and encouragement and to see people, you know, being willing to change their mind and look at things differently and actually, you know, go from a, you know, extreme on one side to going, thoughtful consideration of, yeah, that this might work. I thought that was a huge thing for the city. And if everybody, right, could take part in that kind of discussion, being able to move, you know, and be open to other opinions and other
Just
ideas.
listening, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good, I mean, it says a lot about North Plains that we have people who are willing to participate and change their viewpoints and, you know, listen to each other. I think that's because, again, that group is composed of people who live in town and people who don't live in town. People who voted for the urban growth party, people who didn't vote for it, or who voted against it, and people who didn't vote.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's kind of
All over the place.
diverse group,
Mhm.
right, of people
Yeah.
and opinions, and that they're able to, you know, kind of come to some kind of I don't want to say consensus, but meeting of the minds and move forward with something that they're a majority of people are behind to put in front of the city and say, hey, here's our progress, which I think is the main word, is progress, right? Whether it's, you know, one way or the other way, the fact they were able to move through all of those opinions and ideas to get someplace is a great thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it says a lot about North Plains,
Good.
I think.
That's really encouraging to hear.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it is.
Anybody have any questions for Larry?
Thank you for doing
Yes,
that.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, and good. New business? The library
Okay,
supervisor.
So like I said, I had originally asked for this to be on the March 3rd agenda, but the city recorder asked, March 3rd was getting pretty packed, I think. And went ahead and put it on last night's and, so I presented and the background on it is that we need every time you have a vacancy, you have an opportunity to look at your needs again. And the last time we posted the vacancy was July. And as a library assistant 2 position. Through that recruitment interview process, we wound up promoting Emily West from part-time early literacy specialist to a full-time early literacy specialist. And hiring Yenny, who then left after a short time to go work for the school district. So, you know, things changed a little bit since July. We have new information that we're gonna be redoing our workflows. We have new information that we're gonna be moving to a different circulation software. We're gonna be going, it's still Polaris, but it's a Leap. It's another version. And my job, my role has changed somewhat since Andy left. I've taken on more citywide responsibilities, and so it's now time. I've been the only supervisor, since I started, but now we really do need another supervisor to help give me some capacity to really thoughtfully rework with the staff, the workloads. We need that boots on the ground person to support the staff, make sure the facilities, all the operations are running smoothly, to handle the schedule. I'll handle the schedule for both the circ desk and the volunteers, so that I feel like is a good combo. I had thought about doing that before. And so and then, as things settle, there's still gonna be that need for that supervisor position. That it's not gonna go away once these things. There's going to be ongoing, hopefully, the next thing we'll be going into a library expansion and planning for that. So there will be an ongoing need for that. Additional capacity on my part. I'm interested in professional development too, and helping improve the community in other ways and also, so that's some of the background of why library supervisor at this time.
Can I ask?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Is this something that a staff person can or would likely apply for, and then you'd have another? Is that? Is that a step up
This
or
would
something?
not be a step up for like Emily or Brianna's
Okay.
position. But for any other staff, it could be,
Okay.
if they were interested in applying.
Right, I know they'd be against
We'll-
whoever else is applying, but.
We'll
okay.
recruit and like we always do. I don't ever
No, I know.
hire without the full recruitment, yes.
Larry.
Elephant in the room. So when are you gonna start working for the city full-time and leave the library?
Oh. I do have the Masters of Library Science, and I don't ever see library not being in my purview, but I could see, my scope increasing for other community service type things possibly, or, some HR things. I do have a lot of experience as a manager, so, and there's a bit of a gap with that here. So like I'm going to the CIS conference, next week in Salem, because it's important to know what the latest in HR is, and there's gonna be emergency management tabletop exercises. 10 ways your city can get sued. I'm gonna go to that session, so it's important.
Wrongful termination, yeah.
So Bill and I are both going to that. He's gonna go at the very beginning, because there's a lot of public safety in Wednesday. I'm gonna go start in the middle of Wednesday and go till Friday. We'll both overlap on Thursday, but it's important, that we get that info and risk management info and so forth, so.
So you didn't really answer my question, right?
I said, no, I'm not leaving.
Okay, all right, okay,
At this point in
This-
time.
just asking.
As of right now.
I'm not gonna pull a Will Worthy on you.
Yeah.
So I did present this in a briefer version to the council last night, and it was after some discussion, it was approved. So I will, I had already asked Therese to help me start writing up the job announcement. I have the description.
And that was a pretty easy approval, because it's gonna be pretty much your ballgame. We had to ask some like clarifying questions.
Same
Like, how much it's gonna
FTE
cost.
fits in the budget. It'll cost about $10,000 more than the other positions at the end of this budget cycle. And then we'll work it into our.
Right.
I appreciated your support. One of the counselors asked if we could put it off, and we really need that volunteer coordinator.
It's been a while.
It's really hard on staff right now to have that vacancy. So I just said, we really need to be able to onboard a person before we get into summer reading and everything.
That's a big savings of volunteers,
Well, it's not just that, it's a really important piece of our community engagement
Yeah.
and we get to work with wonderful people.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday morning.
For mention question, how is it managing volunteers?
How is it managing? it?
Right, how does it work? Because
Oh,
direct reports are there's a pretty direct line of,
Oh,
come here at this time and do this when it
So-
needs to happen, right? And here are the laws that we have for this, and you must take this many breaks and
oh, gosh,
get this stuff
well,
done with the
no, I mean, it's-
volunteers. How do you,
Richard could probably answer your question
yeah,
as
I mean,
a
I-
regular volunteer.
volunteers,
Yeah, I'm a-
another job to just do it?
Right, because I've been doing it for a number of
Right.
years now.
There is
but-
a certain
But
time.
I come in at a certain time every week, unless I'm on vacation, and then I'm not quite certain of whom I'm supposed to say that, so that they can find somebody else to fill in. But it's pretty much whoever's standing in front of me, I tell them.
Yeah.
But then they have to find somebody to fill in for me, which takes a certain amount of time. You got a number of volunteers that come in just whenever they're needed. And let's hope they're around when they're needed. So I don't know how many volunteers come on a regular basis.
We try to have at least one in the morning and one in the afternoon.
But is it the
Um,
same person every week on that day? pretty
We
much?
try to have
Yeah.
it be, and we try to make sure there's at least like a 6-month commitment when someone starts, because it does take time we do a background check, we do onboarding. Safety,
Yeah, you get your fingerprints
Yeah.
and the whole bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Still fingerprint.
Training has a cost for sure, right?
We do.
Well, the training, I was fingerprinted.
I was too, but I
had-
didn't think they did it anymore.
Oh, cause
Maybe they
I had
do.
to go into Hillsborough because the thing they're using here, my,
We don't do the
Fingers are
fingerprinting
pretty thin.
anymore,
Oh, okay.
but we
Oh.
still do a background check.
Yeah, you go
that's how
to,
long ago I
yeah, you
was.
go to the UPS store now has a fingerprinting thing in it.
Really?
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But so we have some operational support from volunteers, and then we have other volunteers that may come for special events or whatnot. Not every week, but it's a very rewarding program to have. We need a full-time person to manage it. And then another nice thing about this position is they'll be working Tuesday through Saturday. So we'll have a Saturday supervisor,
Oh.
We
which will
keep
be
hearing,
nice.
we're getting Saturday people and we keep losing them.
We do, and so
I
having
know. It's a,
that consistency would
yeah,
be nice.
be nice,
but,
right, would.
I think there'll be a lot of interest in the position.
Yeah.
Especially due to the timing, I mean.
Okay.
well, the old volunteer coordinator was very good. I mean, she always had little goodies for the
Yes.
volunteers and
We
sent
try.
you happy birthdays, and she just went out of her way. for
Appreciation,
everything.
yeah.
Carol Lilly was second to none.
Yeah,
I had this as a decision item, it's already been approved by council, so it's up to you if you wanna do a vote on supporting this position or not.
Which
Uh,
one seems-
It's pretty moot at this point.
It is.
It is.
well, we
correct,
might
so-
as well, okay, I'll make a motion that yes, we are with you on this.
Second.
And Larry said, it. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Hey, I can say it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
Retroactive.
Okay, we on to future discussion, budget time.
Yeah, so our next board meeting is the Wednesday following a council retreat. Where we're gonna be doing some goal setting and kicking off the next budget cycle. And so I wanted to, I wanted to get it on next month's agenda. Because March would be a good time to talk about budget recommendations. It's something that's part of your role to advise on and priorities and so forth. We can revisit our strategic goals and what have you, but Tim and I meet to make the agenda. And that was one I was gonna recommend having next month. And then we may have some updates on citywide goals following that retreat also.
Yeah. Shouldn't that be year 2025 to 2027 because it's a 2-year budget
Yeah.
Um,
or no?
That's a good question. If I think we don't know yet if we're gonna be doing a biennium this upcoming budget or not.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't want to assume that it was gonna be a biennium this time.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna keep the biennium, because changing it back to annual is
Yeah,
because of the bank, right? So we're probably gonna keep on with this.
yeah, at that, I expect we will. Our library situation funding. Because the levy cycle, this coming year is the last of the old levy cycle, our allocation will change. So our allocation will change halfway through the next budget, so it'll be a little interesting for us, but we'll do our best.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Who would like to do Friends of the Library update? Would David, were you at the last meeting or do you want to?
David can do it as, even though this is still technically a member of the public, because he was
But
there.
he was there and he's a member of the Friends, so if you'd like to.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm gonna run off of our agenda and kind of run down it a little bit. So Robin gave a report and I forget what this is about. It says 2 funding requests.
Oh, that was a typo. That was from the last meeting that they just didn't take off.
Yeah.
So it
okay.
was a past thing that's already done.
So our finances are good. The book sales for January, we did just a little bit shy of $600. The card here did 64. They're really liking the funds that come off of the card here.
Yeah.
That is was a pretty big deal. So overall, we it was $658. We had $138 of donations. Fred Meyer's, we get money from it for $106. So if you go to Fred Meyer's, you can sign up there and the money that you spend, we'll get some of it.
Oh, nice.
And I'm assuming this is half of the $9,000. We gave 4,500.
That's for library materials for people to check out.
Yeah,
Um,
and sometime in the next couple of years, that's gonna change.
right.
So that's how it was. Somehow our net revenue, because of that 4,500, we're down 3,460. But I didn't bring it, but we got like $54,000 in the bank or something like that.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, that whatever money market or whatever.
Yeah.
When you were briefly the treasurer.
Buying the
helped.
T-bills, right, yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
yeah, the interest on that was nothing there, whereas at 138, so,
The one
Good.
right.
yeah,
That
so.
makes a difference.
Yeah,
used to be
so I'm
pens.
curious to see, when we aren't helping to purchase books, what
Mhm.
that's gonna look like.
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean. So
Got a
we're
lot of
doing good.
ideas.
Susan I just found out that her term is up as president, she's terming out as president and, kind of makes me sad because she is just a spark. She's just a wonderful woman. So there's some time spent membership to the Friends of the Library. Really, I think it's like very few, 20 people or something. And so we're gonna be doing a big thing to push to get membership.
Mhm. October's membership month or something.
Yeah, Friends of the National Friends of the Library is October 19th through 25th. So they're prepping to do that. We had some discussion on events for the next summer, to, put up a tent or something and sell books out of and, we have a summer reading for adults, a garage sale, might we do something, there's discussion of a car show, ice cream social will be, I mean,
Definitely
usually,
suggest, yeah, the ice cream social. The streets shut down, a lot of people are like milling around with kids.
Yeah,
that'd probably really be a good place to put a booth and get some volunteers and
Exactly.
probably sell books or knickknacks or that way.
Mhm.
yeah,
And maybe do like a drawing for like, I don't know, maybe have some local signed authors send a book, I don't know.
well, right,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Um, some discussion on the yellow house, cause we're gonna be moving out and, Robin was showing me very proudly these little rooms that we're gonna be doing stuff in. And while you guys are voting on me, I looked around out there and there's little tags there on.
Put little,
What?
oh, yeah,
Little green tags of what
I-
the roads will be used for, and
yeah,
so he's already designing the building.
So
yeah,
they will be able to use
yes.
this, because I was thinking before you had said that,
They're,
well, the public can't come in here,
right.
but that would not, you guys aren't public, so.
I guess not.
We'll have an MOU, a memorandum of understanding agreement for sharing the space like we have
That
done.
makes
And,
sense.
and it really is because the Friends' sole purpose in their articles of organization are funding support to the library. There's a budget line in the
Mhm.
budget of, and so it's direct support. And so that is,
Perfect.
why we can,
Come on.
we want to keep that revenue stream, right? So we'll provide that space.
And they even have running water and toilets here.
I know,
That's-
isn't that something?
It's a pet peeve and all that. So you will lock, they won't have access, you'll have to have locked one side where the staff is and then they get the other side, okay, right? What's the move date? Any idea? Or
Well,
when are they moving out of here?
the next phase of
Sorry.
moving
It's
out
okay.
is March 3rd.
Oh,
I'm gonna say it's a little squishy, just you know how those things go. But some areas have been vacated, so we're starting to stage stuff in that other
Oh,
room. We're already moving things out of the yellow house bedroom. The way the yellow house is used right now, it's one bedroom is city-owned library storage because we have nowhere else to store things or haven't. That's gonna relocate over to that little room back there. And then the Friends online book sale and inventory, and then the Garlic Festival inventory. Those are all items will move over to this building and the workshop.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
well,
then the yellow house will be vacant
yeah.
for other use potentially.
The tough part is, so I don't know if you ever looked in there, but the books are in sections by when they are listed.
Mhm.
And it's to move them, get them moved over here without them getting confused with other dates,
You should put colored dots on them or something.
something like that.
Cause Susan and I just tried shifting massive amounts at one time. And we thought we were doing a really good job and all of a sudden we were like, whoa, no, we're out of order. It's
Yeah.
very easy to, because they're not,
Think about, some sort of system.
Yeah,
that
they're
you
not
did with the
alphabetical.
they're
visual.
not
It's by the-
alphabetical, it's by the date. So everything that was
By
listed
date.
on July 1st is together and then July 2nd is next to it. Well, you just have to pull them off and put them
Yeah,
on the next shelf wrong and
Or get a little
you'll
like-
never find the book again.
exactly.
They're alphabetized within the date though?
No,
No, they're just.
Anyway, we're
And
getting
it's
off
okay.
track just a
Right,
little for
right.
the
Sorry,
meeting,
just listed
sorry.
it and
But-
put it-
But that was a great overview of the Friends meeting. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
thanks for getting me back on.
That's okay.
Okay,
I just don't want to go too late. I was at this council meeting till 10 last
Oh,
night. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
nice.
It's so-
Yeah.
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
been-
get this morning, but I'm just too tired, like I'm gonna stay home.
Did you have some more, David, or should we move on
That's
to
it.
extra issue?
Thank you.
You ready for, sorry, okay.
It's okay.
Are you ready for our ex officio update?
Well, we have a brand new city council in here. You met one of them last meeting. They're trying really hard. They're new and I'm sure they're gonna do a good job. If you know any organization, they have the forming, norming and storming, right? We're still forming. We don't know what things happen, who goes where, who does what. So that process is probably gonna take effect for probably the first half of the year, I would think. And then we can start, forming up and then getting some stuff done. So it's gonna be, it's been a while. Each meeting we've had has been a marathon meeting. Getting there an hour early, staying far longer than we should be there, because there's a lot of. Nobody's really clear on what's happening, right? So, I expect that to be solved soon. right, yeah, probably.
It was a
June,
little
July.
better last night, I
June
feel
time.
like overall.
A lot of the contentious stuff is getting moved aside.
I mean,
so-
it's just, overall, things seem to be going well.
So, please have faith that these things happen all the time and they're okay stuff out.
Yep.
So, excited about the new building and you guys gonna reuse this for something else, which is gonna be close to the same amount of space you guys had over there. When this gets decided what we're gonna do over there, that may be some cool stuff as well across the street.
Neat.
So, don't know what's gonna happen with that yet. There's a bunch of ideas being kicked around.
Oh,
But, you know, more space is more space.
nice, thank you.
So we're ready for the good of the order, general announcements, anything?
I definitely have something.
Oh, good.
Oh, yes. Brianna Sawinski's gonna apply to the Leadership Institute of the Oregon Library Association, or Leola. And I'm writing her a letter of support.
Wow.
And I thought that's pretty
Leola.
cool.
That is very cool.
So
Thank you.
Yay.
So when will she hear back on that?
oh, I don't think the deadline's till next month sometime, but
Oh, okay.
I already wrote the letter, and she wants to get it in right away. And,
Yeah, yeah.
I had brought it up once and encouraged her to do it, and I'm really happy that she's.
Okay, we're almost done. Approval of future. So the next meeting is March 19th at 6:00.
It is 6:00. I don't, my old email address is on here, so I just will remind Lori to take it off, but,
So we really need to make sure that, the council, ex officio knows it's at 6.
yes, sorry if that
I
wasn't
think,
clear.
I looked at the times yesterday and it said 7:00. But on the pager here, it says, I'm sorry, it says 7:00, on the pager it says 6. So I need to double check, make sure I'm not crazy.
I've tried to make sure.
That's always,
it's
that's always
fixed
a,
everywhere.
Best not to check.
And I'm trying to put it in the subject line of the email when I send the
Yeah.
packet. So anyway. Thank
And
you,
are
everybody.
we adjourned at 7:31?
Okay, well, we had a pretty
Yeah.
packed agenda, and we had a lot to talk about, so I appreciate your time.
Thanks for the updates.
Thank you for joining us
Thanks for the
from,
pizza.
Mount
Thank
Shasta.
Yes, thank you for
Pizza.
the pizza. It was great.
Thank you, Tim.
We expect the same next time.
We'll save the rest of it
If
for
anyone
you.
sees Nandu, please ask her.
Maybe she's not back in the country yet.
Maybe.
I swear she
Hopefully
said,
she can
I
get
swear
back
she
in the
said